So, like I said earlier, like you lead a life group here at Cumberlands. You know, you and your family have opened up the house for us, and which is really special. So what has guiding your teammates meant to you in terms of like um, guiding their faith, and what has that taught you about following Jesus?
Yeah, so the first thing I want to mention is I'm thankful that people would even come to the things that I'm doing. Like I mean it's the devil for sure, but it's like dude, like no one's gonna come to that. Like everybody has that doubt. Like nobody wants to hear what you have to say. You're not that important. Nobody wants to come hang out with you and talk about God. And so the fear is like, dude, is nobody going to show up? And there's sometimes it's like it starts officially in 1 minute. I know we do it pretty loosely, like come whenever, but I'm
Yeah,
like, it's 7:29 and there's nobody there, and Miss Candy made 100 freaking sandwiches or something. I'm thinking
yeah,
like, dude, I'm what am I doing?
mhm,
But like then it kind of hits me. I'm like, that's not what I'm doing it for. And we talked about that. I maybe last life group or the one before that, but like if only one person could hear the message that week, then it's a good week. And so that is kind of like I've just been thankful that I have teammates that even care enough to come to the life groups.
yeah,
Um, and then the other thing is like over the years, I've kind of realized that um, people have it hard. Like hearing people talk, like we do the hero highlight hardship at practice when people talk about those sorts of things, and that like, wow, that kind of sticks with you. But when they come to life group and it's more personal and they kind of dig a little deeper in some of the stuff that they are dealing with or have dealt with, it kind of like it kind of weighs on you. I've had people stay after the life group and talk. I've had people like shoot me a text after and talk about something. And I'm just kind of like, man, like you don't know what these people are going through
yeah.
until they really open up. And so that's it's been super, super great. But on that side of it, it's kind of um, I mean, it stinks. Like it really does. Um, it kind of puts you into the real world of like, holy cow, maybe my problems aren't as significant, or maybe I mean, all problems have significance, but like what I'm going through isn't nothing compared to what this other person is going through, or maybe this person is going through exactly what I'm going through, or have gone through in the past. So that's been really cool because you get to connect with people on a level that you don't at the baseball field.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to talk about their struggles at the field. Like that's just not the place to do it. I think the field is the place to build the relationship so that person feels comfortable to have that conversation with you in like a more private setting. I that's it's just been a great place for people. I've said it during the life groups is like kind of what we talk about stays here. Like I want you to go out and spread the gospel. I want you to go out and be like, dude, what we did was awesome. It was fun.
Yeah.
We had a good time. We laughed, but we learned a lot. But I don't want people going out there and telling like, dude, you should have heard what so and so was talking about or what so and so was going through. Like there is
Yeah.
like a privacy, and so I think we've done a great job of like we're all so close, and year to year it changes. New players come in and go and stuff, but like everybody that comes is close, and it's kind of like what we can say here will stay here, and it's not we don't have to worry about like what other people are going to say. It's like
Yeah.
it's a judgment free zone. We've talked about all kinds of different crazy things people struggle with or situations. It's just been great to just actually hear um, people talk about what's going on in their life from all over Texas, Chicago, California. Like
Yeah.
it's just been great.
Yeah. I think it's cool too how for a long time, um, with my hero and hardship was my uncle. And for a long time, like I felt I was so unique in that. Like I was like, man, no one really understands what I
Mm-hmm.
went through. Like no one really gets it. Um, Having to deal with a family member that has uh, gone through suicide. It's a hard thing to kind of like, I kind of put my own problems on kind of a pedestal and like no one really understands me, man. Like they don't get me.
Yeah.
But bro, after sitting through that, like, dude, we got like there's so many people that have gone through so many hard times, and that just
Hmm.
united us more. I've never felt so connected in the first like 2 months with a team than I have here. Like just if about hearing people's problems, about hearing the brokenness that people have gone through, and some of like our my best friends here, like the things that they've faced in their lives. Like I'm not alone. Like I've suffered, but they have also suffered, and like we unite through that brokenness of like, okay, like God pushed us through those times, and He got us to where we are now. So let's do the best that we can to spread His gospel and to spread His message. And even the life group, like going to life group, Psalm 27:17, iron sharpens iron. Like we are both, and everyone else there is we're growing in Christ together. We're challenging each other. We're, you know, seeing where we stand about certain things and trying to understand. We're going through the book of John, the things that Jesus did, like how he walked, how he talked to the Pharisees, like all those things. Like we are learning together and growing together. And man, like it's so cool. Like you can't do it on your own. You can't go through all these things on your own. Like I think people like fantasize, like, oh, I'm the wounded warrior, man. Like I'm the lone wolf. I went through this by myself. Like, bro, man, like going through it with your boys and like having that connectedness that's such a cool feeling. And like Life Group does it perfectly. The hero highlight hardship stuff did amazing with that too. That made us grow as a group, as a team, and as a family. This is very much a family. Your dad talks about, or Coach Shelton talks about, it's a family. Like this is your family. So feel free to fail in front of your family. Like mess up. He gives us that freedom you know, to fail and give us chances to succeed, giving us opportunities. I feel loved. Like I'm sure everyone else does too. I mean, the environment that we've created through Life Group, through all these things has been awesome. And I think that leads me into my next question is when your time at Cumberlands is over. I mean, this is your last year. What do you hope your teammates remember about you the most? Like the way that you lived, the way you served, and the way that you carried yourself as, a follower of Jesus.
Yeah. So I mean, this kind of goes back to what you were saying a little bit. Um, so I go to Emmanuel Baptist Church. They have a Corbin campus is the main campus, and they just built a church in Williamsburg, super nice, and then they have a Richmond campus. So I of course go to the Williamsburg campus, and Pastor Allen, the head pastor there, he always talks about. I mean, it's kind of a generic thing throughout like modern churches now. Is the like you need to do life together is what they say, like, oh, we do life together. And I've seen that they crack me up. You see memes about it. It's like people that see each other for 1 hour, one time a week, talking about how they need to do life together. Like the only time you see them is actually on Sunday at church, and then you
Yeah.
don't see them until the next Sunday. Um, and that's the purpose of a life group, is the thought of like, okay, you go to church, but then on another day you hang out. There needs to be something else. Like you're not just like going, obviously getting in the word, like fellowship, worship is the reason. So that like the studying the Bible is the core reason, but there's something else there. Like you're watching a game or you're eating food. Like that's when you need to be, like when you're around other Christians. That's how you really get close to one another and grow with each other. So that's kind of the thought is of how are we going to do life together unless we actually hang out together. And so that's the
Yeah.
life group. And then the thought of the life group is you need to create, they call it 2 a.m. friends. You're going through something at 2 a.m. Who are you going to call? Who are you going to text? Like, that's the point of a life group. And that's how you get that family sort of feeling, which baseball can do that, but it's the outside of baseball, the non-baseball stuff that I think is really, really beneficial. Um, and so, to your question, I hope that I am viewed as that, as anybody's 2 a.m. friend. I think I've done a good job in my long career of reaching out to anybody, you know, like I, I was this, like, we've had 70 men rosters at Cumberlands when we used to have like a JV team. So it was like there was a lot of people on the team. And I've been on teams in my life where I've been the last person on the team if you were ranking off of ability. And so it's very easy for anybody to be like, I'm going to prioritize the best player, the All American, the draft pick. Like, I'm going to go talk to them. Who cares about number 70? You know, like, he doesn't bring any
Yeah.
value, is the thought. But I've been that person. Like I said, I wasn't really good growing up. I'm not blowing smoke. Like, I just actually wasn't very good at baseball when I was little. And so I've been in the point where it's kind of like, I don't fit in. I'm the last one on the team, sort of thing. And so I hope that people feel that I care about 1 through 70 in that scenario, and see that they all have value. Um, I think it's so easy to get caught up in a routine of like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to my friends, and then a couple other people, and then I'm done for the day. Uh, I want to, even if it's uncomfortable, kind of just like, what's up, dude? You know, like, just
Yeah.
a simple conversation that means a lot. You don't know what somebody's going through. They might be thinking, dude, I feel like nobody's talked to me in forever, and that could change their day. Because I mean, I've been that way, you know, and I can think of people throughout my life and throughout my career that have been that for me. And I'm thinking, wow, you know, like, they completely changed my outlook on a day, a week, or a
Yeah.
ball season, or a team, you know? And so that's kind of how I want to be remembered. Um, I, when I first got here, I was kind of like scared to death that people would group me with my dad, which that's not a bad thing. My dad is a great person. I'm so thankful for him. But I didn't want to be, like I said earlier, like an extension of him. I wanted to be my own person, and I didn't want people to be afraid to talk to me out of fear that I was going to go talk to my dad, or I was going to say something. Like, I didn't want people to think that I was any different than anybody else as far as a player. Um, and so I just really, that was my focus, was like, I need to show these people that, like, I'm in it with them from a baseball and athlete standpoint. I'm not the coach's kid, but I also want them to know that I'm in it with them from like a Christian perspective of like, um, what they're dealing with, dude. I'm right there with you. If you need
Yeah.
something, let me know. Call me, text me. I just being a good teammate is my number one priority. Um, if if I have a bad day, baseball wise, 0 for 4, a couple strikeouts, um, that stinks. I mean, obviously, but I feel much worse if I feel like, man, I was just a jerk today. You know, like I really probably wasn't a good teammate. And being a catcher, the whole idea of servant leadership is like, you know, like, you hear like when something good happens, it's because the pitcher made a great pitch. When something bad happens, it's because I did something wrong. You know, I should have received it better. I should have blocked that pitch. I shouldn't have called that sort of thing. So being a catcher, bullpens, I'm thinking a lot of time the catchers want to catch a bullpen. You know, like, we want to go hit, or we want to do
Yeah.
something fun. You know,
Hmm.
but that's when I try to lock in. It's like, no, I'm serving my teammates. You know, and that's just a simple way. It doesn't seem like a big thing, but it's just the generic, what would Jesus do? And so every moment is a chance to try to be as Christ-like as possible. And so that's really my thought with every relationship, every interaction. And I fail. Like, I can't lie. There will be times where I make mistakes, or I'm like, that was kind of rude of me to say, or maybe I should have had a better attitude when I was catching that dude's pin, but I was
Yeah.
running to the backstop the whole time. You know, that like I'm trying to approach everything, and it's a daily process. Everything with a Christ-like approach is just my thought, and I hope others see that. And that's really the end all be all. If I'm the worst catcher in Cumberland's history when it's all said and done, and people look back 100 years from now like, dude, that dude stunk when he was there for 5 years. He should have got a job, whatever. But I hope my teammates were like, dude, he was a great teammate, and he was a great example for Christ, and he loved me, and he was there for me if I needed something, you know?
Yeah. And you have done that. So I'm a testament to that. But yeah, no, I completely agree of having those people like, I wasn't the best at EKU. I was very much on the bottom of the totem pole. I feel like, and you still have those guys that would come and make you feel like you're a part of the team when you feel like you're the farthest thing away from being a part of it, and really appreciate those people. But yeah, it's cool to it's cool to look back and kind of realize like the impact that the people had on you and how that can change your perspective on how you can help other people and especially your teammates. I feel like even though I've done, I'm doing this podcast, I'm doing verse of the day, like I'm doing everything I can, and I've done a lot more than I ever have, like on social media with spreading the gospel. I still fall short. I still fail. I feel like that's just who we are. We're the world is fallen. Like sin is in the world, and um, sometimes we turn to the flesh. Sometimes we turn to the worldly things that this place can give, and it's easy to be hateful. It's easy to be lazy. It's easy to look past people that you don't feel like are like, okay, yeah, whatever. I'm passing this guy. You know, so what? But man, like Jesus was like for everyone, no matter who they were. Broken. You know, beaten, leopards. Like just that feeling of like how he treated others. Like how can I do my best to be like Jesus today? And just like how you were mentioning, like it's we can have a better attitude about some things, um, and just be blessed with the days that we have and the people that we're around because it doesn't last forever. So I think that's cool. Your perspective on that was really nice, because I definitely feel like I could do a better job of bringing others in instead of hey man, walk that way, instead of being like, dude, what's up, man? How was your weekend? Just things like that, giving you a little bit more effort. Maybe even conversations that you wouldn't want to have with somebody, someone that you don't really talk to on the team, or someone that you feel like you barely talk to, or maybe don't get along with not very much. Just giving me a little bit more effort to be more connected to that person, and um, eventually, I feel like that's a good testament to Jesus. And sometimes the first example of Jesus that we give is through ourselves and our actions, like how we mentioned in life group. So, super important stuff. So my last question, if you were to go back to Whitley County High School and tell Clay Shelton, what would you tell him for everything that you've been through when he's about to head off to college ball? What would be something that you would tell him before he left?
It's a good one. I think the best thing that you could say is obviously just keep God first in everything that you do. Which obviously, like, that's something that I've heard my whole life growing up in a Christian household. But I remember my pastor growing up, uh, every time he would finish a sermon, and this was the pastor for probably like 14 years of my life. So really, um, the core of my growing up, I was here listening to this man preach, and he was very smart. He would say, "Remember whose you are." So the thought was, growing up, I would think, I mean, I'm 10 years old. I'm thinking, remember who you are. People would be like, "Oh, I'm Clay, and I do this and I do that," but it's not who I am. Remember whose you are. I am Jesus's. I am the Lord's. Like, and so everything I do needs to glorify them. Like it needs to glorify the Father. And so I don't know. I thought that's always something that's kind of stuck with me, is remember whose you are. And my mom would always say that. Like, she'd drop me off at a birthday party, and she'd be like, "Hey, remember whose you are," or like I go to a football game, remember whose you are. And it's just kind of like, I remember sometimes it would kind of like frustrate me, because I'd be like, who does my mom think I am? Like, does she think I'm going out here like being a little hoodlum? Like she thinks I'm going crazy or something. I was like, I know, Mom, I'm Jesus's or whatever. But it really is good to think. Remember who you are. Everything we do is a reflection um, of Jesus. And so, and a lot of times as Christians, people are going to be even more critical of our actions than a dude who's not. Um, when you see someone who is always living worldly, like their actions don't line up with Christ, people don't really tend to analyze what they're doing. But when someone claims to be a Christian, every little thing they say or thing they do is going to be broken down and analyzed and like, well, why do you do that and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as a Christian, like I think that's a privilege, like there are more eyes on us. And that can be to glorify God and spread the gospel. And so I want to think every time I do something, someone could see me do that, and I want it to be beneficial to the kingdom. And so, yeah, but and I think non-believers, they see how we act and think, well, that dude, like, because I make mistakes, you make, like, people make mistakes. And non-believers could see that and be like, see, that dude's not a Christian because of XYZ. And
Yep.
in reality, it's like, no, like, I need Jesus because I make mistakes. Like, I am
Mm-hmm.
broken. So you see my shortcomings and think he's not a Christian. I see my shortcomings. And I'm like, that's why I need Christ. So yeah, I think it's that's just something to remember who you are is something that's kind of stuck with me my whole life. Um, but and you said, like, what would I go back and tell myself? My mom was telling me that all throughout that time period, but I think I would put even more emphasis on it. Just even the smallest little decisions is like, remember who you are.
Yeah, that's super special. That's something that I'll take with me too. I've never heard that saying, but it's awesome. That's really cool. Um, but yeah, I don't really have anything else, man. Like if you got any final words or anything that you want to leave anybody with, you got it.
Yeah, I'm thankful that you're here, dude. Like you said, we played against each other growing up. We didn't really know each other,
Yep.
but like I remember being at Eastern, and when you committed, I was like, dude, that dude played at Somerset, like that's crazy. Um, and then I had all kinds of friends at Eastern after I left. I would check in on scores and stats and stuff and keep up with you all. Um, so it was kind of like I was following along with your career, and I didn't even know you personally. And then,
Yeah.
um, but I'm just glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're doing this podcast and your daily verses of the day. I mean, it's awesome. Uh, not many people are as outspoken as you, so like I respect that and I really appreciate that. And the stuff that you're doing is, um, it's really good, man. Like I love it. I love you, and I'm just glad that you're here. I'm ready to go. It fires me up.
Oh yeah, me too, bro. Well, I appreciate it. That means a lot.
Yeah.
Just being a little bit more outspoken. I think with social media, it's we have our imaginary rules that we have in our head about like, I gotta post this and have a sick caption. But man, like, what if I use this for something more than myself?
Yeah.
So that's just cool to it's cool to have that feeling that you're helping somebody. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
No,
I,
it's
I
awesome.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
And you're doing the same thing with your life group and the way you carry yourself. The people see Jesus through Clay Shelton.
That means a
So
lot.
yeah, man. Well, that's all I got for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and God bless.